I was diagnosed with breast cancer on September 4th, 2015. Friday afternoon, right before Labor Day weekend. I kind of started to have a suspicion because when you have a biopsy and they tell you we're going to do some lymph nodes, it's kind of a red flag. So I was somewhat preparing for it. But I got the call and it was close to stage 3, aggressive breast cancer, and you need to get treatment right away. And I sat in my car and cried for about a good 20 minutes before I could even get the muster to drive or to call anyone, and then went and told my husband and called my parents and his parents, and then the process begins. First thing you think is I've got 3 kids. I had a daughter who was starting her senior year in high school, another daughter who was a sophomore at the time, and a son who was in 7th grade. How am I going to tell them? When you hear the word aggressive, are you going to make it to your kid's graduation? What's going to happen with that? But I think the hardest thing for me was, as a wife and a mother, is what's going to happen to my husband. What's going to happen to my kids, and having to tell my kids. Well, I definitely say was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my entire life, because in a brief second, you watch your kid's life change in a brief second. I just told them I have an aggressive form of breast cancer, and we're going to get through this. I am a person of faith, and trust me, I got on my knees and did a lot of praying those first couple days. So that for me was probably the hardest thing to come to grips with, having to tell them, and also knowing that I was going to have to do this journey and I didn't know what it was at that point. There was a lot of uncertainty at that point. My gynecologist was the one that called me, and then it was kind of just a process of my friend who was going through chemo, and she said, I really like Trios, it was close to home, and then you just start asking questions about oncology, and they're like, there's this new doctor. I'd heard some really good things on Dr. Curry. I researched him from when he was back east. I set up an appointment. During that time, scheduled with the surgeon also to kind of get options, but Dr. Curry was my first main person, oncologist was my first main person that I met with. What would be the one thing you would tell yourself? Don't try to be a control freak, because it's out of your hands and you have to trust other people. That would be the one thing. Is I have always been, I like to control things, and that you have no control and you have to trust other people to do the job. And that was a good lesson for me to learn. Someone who I felt was being straightforward with me, but caring, because it is a very emotional time, and to reassure you about what they were doing. I think the other thing was that I felt like they were accessible to me, that if I had an issue, that I could call and know that I was going to have somebody call me back. Because when you're going through chemo and you have a side effect come up, you need somebody that you know is going to call and help you get through whatever that side effect is or whatever that issue you're having. And when I met with Dr. Curry, the type that I had, there were 2 regimens you could do. I was like, I want the most aggressive, because at that point I didn't know, and he's like, no, let's talk about the 2 different options for you. And he really brought me information and medical research on why he felt which one was better for me. Let me take it home, read it, go over it, process it, and then come back and ask questions. And really to explain to me what the chemos were that I had, what each one did, and why I had to take it. And preparing me for the fact that yes, I'm going to lose my hair and these are the side effects. He made it feel like I was having a conversation with a friend, like a caring person or a mentor. And that's what I really liked about him, that I was a person, I wasn't just a number and a patient, which I thought was important because it showed me that he cared. I am 7 months cancer-free. I had my surgery in January. I ended up doing a lumpectomy reconstruction because of the type of cancer. And then I did do radiation. I finished that in April. Now it's the process of continuing to heal your body and get back to what we all call the new normal. Yeah, absolutely. My oldest just went to college and we talked about, somebody asked me, did you cry? And I said, no. because a year ago I didn't know if I'd be there for it. So now I enjoy those things and find the joy in it. But this time last year, I didn't know if I'd be there to watch my kid go to college. I didn't know if I'd be there to watch my younger daughter get her driver's license, or watch my son play soccer, and all that. So those are the things that we also too as a family, you find joy in the small things, and how much closer my family and my sister-in-laws and brother-in-laws have gotten closer because of it. Biggest thing is the nurses here. You feel like they're your best friends because they really do care about every aspect of you. Every time I came in for blood work, how are you? They knew about my kids. You could joke with them. You could, if you had a side effect, they were like, hey, yeah, this is what you need, because they're on the forefront of it, but they make it comfortable for you. They understand when you're having a bad day, and they cheer you when you make an accomplishment, when your numbers are up, or when something's going well. That was one of the most unique things I thought, is the group of ladies down there. I've never felt like so comfortable and at peace with just that I knew I could trust them, that they really had my best interest at heart, and they care about every single patient. I used to play competitive tennis before all this started, and getting back to doing that. My goal is to be back there in January, and yeah, just starting to get more physically active again and enjoying life. I think, too, that as a cancer patient, to other cancer patients, I would say some people that you thought were going to be there for you during your cancer treatment will fall to the wayside. And it's nothing against you. It's them struggling with how they're dealing with it and how to deal with it. Love them through that. Eventually they'll come back, and you will find the value in family like you've never seen before. And people that you never thought would be there come in and are amazing champions for you and your family. And not just your immediate family, but your outside family. But I think that'd be the biggest thing, is don't be surprised if it happens. It's okay. It's hurtful, but it's okay. And you have to love the person and understand where they're at. And it has nothing to do with you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Fora. I am one of the new medical oncologists. I had the honor to join trials a few months ago. I had the pleasure to take care of a lot of cancer patients over the last few years, and I will be more than happy to share my story with you. Imagine that this is a Wednesday morning, you wake up, you felt a lump, you are anxious, you went to your primary care doctor immediately. You were able to have a biopsy on a Friday morning, and a few hours after that, you got that call that you were afraid of. You have cancer. So time stop. You are shocked, and you don't want to believe this news. Your mind starts to spin with all these questions and concerns, and the more questions you have, the more you are afraid and concerned. This is not just a flu or a simple back pain. This is cancer. So what do you want to do? You want answers. And the way you have your answers is you need to see a cancer specialist like me as soon as possible. Because that expert is the one that stands between you and the information you want for the journey ahead. For me, meeting a newly diagnosed cancer is one of the most difficult moments in my job. I come to the room, I see you sitting alone, scared. You didn't bring anyone with you because you are not ready to share the information with people. Or I come to the room which is filled with frightened beloved ones who, like you, are waiting for answers. Sometimes I see tears, and Sometimes I see a brave but fake smile that hides fear and anxious, but at the same time is hoping for good news. When you are diagnosed with cancer, you face a storm of issues and questions and concerns. Am I really having cancer? How serious it is? How this will affect my family? And what will be the financial impact? And unlike the evening weather report, where they can predict that storm, cancer hit at a time when you are least prepared for. So if cancer strikes you or a loved one, and you are faced with all of these uncertainties, first, I ask you not to go immediately into the death sentence mindset. With all the advancements in medicine and technology, you have a better chance to survive cancer than ever before. Second, start to assemble your care team. Look for people who you trust, people who you are comfortable with, people who will look after your emotional needs as much as your physical ones. Because the journey can be long and rough, and an extra something you do can make the difference in your outcome. You also need to sit with a cancer expert like me, someone who will listen and focus on your story. And because cancer is very complex, and because it can affect different aspects in your life, we will together add more people to your team, like a nurse navigator, and social worker, and financial counselors, and others who will do everything to help and support you. And finally, take your time. Don't allow anyone to rush you with big words and loads of papers. This is your life. You need to understand your cancer and what to expect, so you and your loved one are in a position to make the good decisions. This is your life and this is your body. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and even seek a second opinion. Because the more you know about your cancer, the better you'll be able to manage your journey through it. Cancer is an emotional and physical and financial burden that needs the help of your friends and family. And this is best obtained close to where they are, here in Tri-Cities. In years past, many complex problems were better managed in big cities like Seattle and Portland. But today, the Tri-Cities is better equipped to help you than ever before. And Trios will do everything for you and your loved ones to take care of you and support you. And for me as an oncologist, my aim would be always to take care of you and help you to get rid of the cancer, hopefully quickly, with minimal pain and inconvenience, and most importantly, near home, family, and friends. Thank you.